Last section here would be percussion sounds and patches, drums patches. I found that might be most informative, most complex and interesting at the same time, as the DeepMind is not really a unit created to work with such sounds. And yep, so let's try to create maybe basic bass drum first. So we are in mono mode and we will be using VCF as a source of faked sine wave, as the DeepMind doesn't have sine wave shape on any of available oscillators. So first thing is, let's go 0 here on the envelope and resonance and frequency as well. So now we got no sound at all, as the filter is not self-resonating at this point. Let's increase the resonance all the way up. And here we go. Now, if the keyboard tracking is set to 0, it doesn't matter which key you pressed on your controller. You will have the constant same pitch. If I go maximum here, I could play with the filter as we do before. There are some effects as well here, so this is a distortion and EQ. Let's turn that off for now. So now we have straight decaying sine wave. And now let's tune it. Actually, it was fine right away. But we don't really want to play melodies, so let's put the keyboard tracking to 0. So now we have one constant note. Let's kick those effects back. So there's a distortion. Here you have the settings if you want to replicate exactly the same settings. And now envelope amount here will cause can you hear it? The more you put envelope, there will be higher pitch at the very beginning of the note. We got really fast decay here, because we don't want this. This is VCF envelope settings. Okay, so put that envelope amount to taste, and VCA is no attack and short release. Okay, let's try some hi-hats. We will use noise generator. Actually, typically you want to use white noise generator here, but DeepMind doesn't have one. We have a pink noise generator, but it sounds just fine. If you open the VCF like you normally do, so it's just noise. It's velocity sensitive here. And now to create hi-hat sound, we will increase decay a little and go all the way down on the sustain, and also increase the release. And now if you hold a note, because the decay is shorter than release, we will have closed hi-hat. And if you release the note immediately after you hit it, we will have open hi-hat, as the release is higher than the decay. You can also try to engage the arpeggiator to play some pattern and mess up with arpeggiator patterns to create or find some interesting rhythmic variations. Okay, this one is complex, interesting, and not that really useful. It doesn't sound that good as, for example, the first bass drum we created. But I want to show you that just for science, because it's really interesting what you can do if you want to. So this is another bass drum. Let's open the VCA. So now we have kinda bass drum, bass sound, and the source of that sound is noise generator here. Yeah, sorry, not here. On the modulation matrix, we have LFO2, which increase the noise level, and we can actually hear it as a sound because the LFO rate is set really high. Look. So let's tune it. And note number controlling the LFO2 rate to let us play it as an oscillator. And also the envelope 3, which is an additional extra envelope generator, also controlling the LFO2 rate to create that sweep in pitch, which is, I will show you how it sounds without it. So just a bass now. Yeah. And now what we have to do to create a bass drum is set a decay, release, and set the VCA back to 0. Okay, so let's try some 808 style cowbell. It's a really simple patch, nothing really fancy here. What we have is 2 oscillators. First one, just straight square plus saw wave, and the second one is a sub oscillator, which is set fifth, so 7 semitones above the first one, slightly detuned to 2 cents, sorry, 20 cents above the first one. Yeah, and really short decay on the VCA with 0 sustain. 2-pole filter, but no, actually it's all the way up, so no filtering here at all. No effects as well. Another complicated patch. Claps with stuttering on the clap attack. How it's made, especially that stuttering here, it's I think it's LFO2, no, where it is, envelope 2 and VCA active, I think, here we have it. Oh, yeah, so, and this one, and this one as well. So now we have some simple decaying noise, but if we go all the way up here, which is LFO1 as a source to VCA active destination, it will increase in sample and hold fashion, really fast rate here, the active VCA amplitude. At the same time, with the LFO2, we will go low to do the opposite. That will create at the same time stuttering and kind of randomness in that attack. And what we have on the LFO2 is a key-synced triangle wave, which is which will create that tremolo amplitude modulation, and at the same time we got envelope where it is, yeah, envelope 2, no, frequency, yeah, that's it. So this way you can hear what will happen if I change the shape. We have that attack amplitude modulation, and it's just simple short release, zero sustain. On the VCF side, it's nothing really fancy. I experimented with the VCF as well, but it doesn't really matter here. And on the effect side, we have some delay. No, it's zero. Some distortion and EQ, and really subtle room reverb. Yeah, that's it. So it's basically noise, decaying noise with tremolo-like attack, generated by sample on hold, working against the triangle wave LFO here on the VCA active destination. Another one conga-like sound, similar to A08. It's just chorused. No, it's not. It's bypassed. So it's straight. I think filter. Yeah. So we already did some filter actions here. So nothing really fancy here. Only one thing worth mentioning here is that we got envelope here with really fast like 0 decay with really fast envelope to create that pitch sweep at the very beginning of each strike, and the keyboard tracking all the way up, of course, which lets us play with those congas as we can with pitched instrument. So now Razor, which is kind of reversed cymbal sound. It's really easy. It's a noise generator, but we got on the VCA side, we have kinda long attack with 0 decay, 0 release, and 0 sustain. This way we can only hear the attack part of the VCA. And we also have some filter sweep, really subtle, with inverted envelope. So as the amplitude goes up, filters closing down. That's it, very simple. Shakers. It's also noise, but as you can hear, no matter where I put the noise level here, it still play, because no effects here, because the noise level is controlled by two LFOs. First one is ramping up saw wave, and the second one is triangle. And it's actually it. This is how it works. We got some filtering action here, but you can set it just to taste. The core of that sound is here. How you set those LFOs. And you can experiment, as you can hear, with different shapes of both LFOs and different subdivisions to create interesting rhythmic variations. This sounds more like a hi-hat now. This is strange. This is fine. This is fine as well. And what I did here, I believe, is also I've added... No, I did not. You can also try... No, it doesn't matter. I think... No, it is. You can also try arpeggiator patterns here to add additional level of rhythmical variation. So just if you want to use it in your recording, just record long stream of data and try to fit to your recording. Yeah. That's it. Timpani. It's similar to many previous patches we created. Two oscillators, square wave plus sub oscillator, which is also square wave. They are strangely pitched. We got like 1.8 semitone here to create that strange percussive detune. And to create that metallic sound, we got something we already did a lot of times, which is a note number controlling the LFO1 rate, really high rate on the first LFO, and it's it's pitch modulating. The LFO1 is pitch modulating the oscillator 2, which will create faked frequency modulation. Boosted low end and no effects. Snare. First thing I've done here to let me tune that much precisely is a note number as a source on modulation metrics and oscillator 1+2 pitch on the destination with depth all the way down. What it does, it force oscillators to keep constant pitch no matter which note you hit on your controller. Then to create different pitches, you can go up and down on transpose section, so it's always the same note here. And what it is, it's some noise, decaying noise, similar to hi-hats. But what we have here as well is envelope 3, which controls the oscillation 2 level. Because on the now we have only the kind of hi-hat like sound, which kind of simulates snare springs. And oscillator 2 this is just that really short sound, and it's controlled by the mode envelope here, because I wanted to I wanted that sound to be shorter than the springs, and if you put it on the VCA, you will control the noise and the oscillator amplitude at the same time. This time the VCA is controlling the overall amplitude, which will be noise mostly here, and the mode envelope, which is shorter, will control only this one. And Yeah, it's just a simple decaying, really fast decaying square wave. And what we have as well here, I think, yeah, we also have that really fast sweep, pitch sweep, but this time we are not controlling it with envelope, as we kinda run off 3 envelopes. Instead, we are using portamento mode, which is fixed plus 24 semitones. So higher we go, the more sweep we will have from 2 octaves above the target tone. And now let's go with that spring emulation. We are on the 6 unison mode here to make it more percussive, louder. Yeah, that's basically it. It's just more noise at the same time, stuck in each other. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention on the snare here is this setting, which is a key reset for the oscillator. What it does, I will remove that noise for now. It will force oscillators to reset to the same starting point each time we press the key. Just try to hear the difference here. Now each time we play, it sounds a little bit different. And now it's the same each time as the oscillators. Starting point is the same for each oscillator. Now we hear mostly the noise, no attack of the oscillator here. Much better now. You can also experiment with that setting on actually every patch you created. If you have unison mode, multiple oscillators, it almost always create more or less dramatic change in tone of your patch. Okay, another one will be China-like symbol. It's not really, it's really strange sound, but it fits quite well in the mix actually. And what it does, it's a synced oscillator 2 with no oscillator 1 at all, and it's as on the snare drum, the keyboard does not control the oscillator pitch at all. Envelope 3 is controlling the LFO1 rate, so the mod here is controlling the LFO1 rate, and LFO1 rate here set to really high rate is again FM modulating the oscillator, and because it's synced, we are not hearing changing in pitch. Instead, we are hearing changes in the tone of the cymbal. There's a filter here. Oh, and it's important filter here. What we have here, it's a band pass. No, it's a high pass. It's a high pass filter, just to filter lower frequencies here to taste. I used that because it just go higher than the built-in filter. You can also experiment with other modes. This one sounds a little bit better to me. It's also filtered, this time bypassed, bandpassed, sorry, on the 7K. And yeah, only the filter here on the effect side. It's similar fashion. Synced oscillator without the first oscillator, audible. Envelope 3 is controlling LFO1 rate, and LFO1 is pitch modulating oscillator 2, which is synced, so it just changed the tone of the oscillator 2, not the pitch. And what we have here, we have a little bit different settings, so it sounds maybe a little bit darker, more like larger cymbal. And we also add noise. Right cymbal. This is quite nice actually. Similar to our previous two cymbals. It's again mode filter here and high pass on 2K. There's also some low pass here. It's just, I just messed around with different settings here. You can also try on each cymbal actually. You can try different shapes of the LFOs. That is frequency modulating your oscillator, as it creates different timbres of the cymbal. Yeah, so I think you just should experiment, mess around with those settings, and you will be able to create much more interesting and many more variations of these patches, creating really interesting cymbal sounds. And finally, the last patch, hats, but different hats that we did before. There's also a noise here, but it's just a part of the sound. The most important thing is the similar stuff that we do before, which is envelope 3, LFO, 1 rate, etc. Just like in the right and China patches. But the VCA is set to really low. So first, let's try to create interesting metallic sound. Now reduce the decay and add some noise. Of course, you can try also open hats. You can try to automate that process with sequencer, for example, if you want. Or just record different samples and put it on your drum machine. Okay, let's try to create a full demo song or demo tune only with some selection of the presets we did.